What's going on, friends? My name is John Waldman. I'm a filmmaker based in New York, and today I want to talk about my FX3 gimbal build. So right here, when I'm hired as a camera operator or a director of photography, and the client is requesting a gimbal setup, this is the main rig, the build, the camera. This is generally 95% of the time what I'm going to be wearing. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it. There's been a lot of different things I've tinkered with. I've changed my approach over the years. I want to give a big shout out to my buddy, Eric Durkin, who I feel like I shout out all the time, but this rig is inspired by him. So Eric, thank you for your wisdom. Really, actually, the first thing that I got when I saw him use it is this tilt-a-vest. I really like this because it has this little point, this little like mount right here. Now it's not like you could just leave it and let go of the camera, but it's really great for, for like in between on a set and we want to, change the different settings, whatever it might be. You don't have to sit there and like keep the camera out and like do like blah, blah, blah. Having a nice little place to leave the camera right here, it's fantastic. And sometimes there's, jobs where you're just kind of sitting there on the gimbal, kind of floating around or whatever, and you just gotta like stay still or give a little bit of this. Just having that little bit of support is nice, especially even when you're walking around. That's really great. I don't even know if you have to use the top. The top is nice. I feel like it kind of just like gets everything kind of sturdy. I feel like I have a little bit more support. I've also had times even where clients were just impressed just with this, like, oh, look, he's all like rigged out. So some of that client perception. Honestly, I think this thing's like $100. If you're shooting on a gimbal kind of this nature, I highly recommend you look into it. It's the RS3 Pro. I have zero complaints whatsoever. I did get the Pro kit. I use the follow focus sometimes. The Raven Eyes I've used before. I think the difference is a couple $100. I'll leave that up to you, but this gimbal is great. I've primarily just flown the FX3 on here, and this is just my bread and butter for gimbal work. I'm sure the RS4 Pro is better and nicer and newer. I have no complaints about this, and I plan on keeping this until this ever dies on me or I feel like I want to put a bigger camera on a gimbal, but I like having a smaller setup for gimbal stuff. These small rig side handles, I really like them. They're all NATO, so you can mount NATO accessories. There's also some hot shoe mounts, quarter 20s, 3/8 inch, so a lot of different options to mount different things, which first thing would be these small rig side handles. These attach via NATO. You need both of these things. If you get one, you're gonna need the other. Definitely get both. I think this works on the 2 and the 3. Maybe it works on the 4. I don't know if they changed the mount. Someone let me know. And then I guess first talking, I have this little V-mount plate on here. It's not electronic, but it's like a mini tilt-a-one, and I have this small rig 50 watt-hour battery. Purposely chose the most lightweight battery to power my monitor just to keep the rig as light as possible. And then I have a D-tap to right angle LEMO. Then out of the monitor, there's an HDMI going into the camera. This Condor Blue articulating arm. What I do is I tighten it, but then leave it like just like a hair loose so you can make these like micro adjustments on the fly. I think you could even put something like an FX6 on the RS3 Pro, but my whole thing is, I think the beauty of these smaller gimbals is being able to put a smaller camera on there. So this is where the FX3 kind of comes into play. So this is mostly FX3, usually 24-70. I often start out maybe at like 35 millimeters to balance it. So then I could, mess around like that. Boom, boom. Probably not the best thing. Should calibrate it a lot. Speaking of which, but yeah, just this combination of a lightweight gimbal rig and with these cameras that have such good autofocus, it's really nice. Another intentional pickup was this Sony microphone. I think it's like the ECM something. I forget the exact name. I have a review on it. Go check that out. But this connects via hot shoe. First of all, if you try to put the top handle on here, it's really difficult to mount, like especially when you start going backwards, there's not enough clearance. I like the idea of like no wires and the electronic hot shoe. And I knew because I wasn't using the top handle, I should look into something specifically for these situations where I'm flying the gimbal, but I want to get a little bit of scratch audio. And so this is what I landed on. I think Sony made a newer version. I really don't know the difference, but it's really nice. I like it a lot. Oh, back with the batteries. This is cool because there's a bunch of different, there's D-tap, USB, USB-C, a couple of 8 volt and 12 volt outs. Anyways, there's a bunch of different power options depending on what accessory you're using. I've even used this to power the Ronin on longer shoots. I'm gonna try to keep it, as lightweight and minimal as possible. Also, if I'm not using my Ultra 5, I have my small HD 502, which is on the camera right now.
I'll usually just use the LP batteries because the Ultra 5 doesn't take, there's no battery solution there. If I'm on a shoot where the primary thing is gimbal work, I'm gonna add the extra weight because this monitor is incredible and I do think the extra weight is worth it. But if I'm doing a 2-camera thing and whatever, and this is not the primary one, then I will not use that. I used to have this like little sling back handle over here. I wound up taking it off. I wasn't finding myself doing it that much. But yeah, it's pretty simple, nothing too crazy. I get, work doing this, whether it's a corporate thing, branded content, real estate kind of stuff, whatever it may be. This is the rig I'm bringing out. Pretty much every time I'm doing a gimbal job, it's like this. The only time recently that I didn't build up like this was for an event. It was so crowded that I was like, I feel like this is just taking too much space up. So I wanted to kind of go back and make it more minimal. Yeah, for the most part, I'm like really happy with this. I don't really foresee any changes coming here. I don't have it on here right now, but I keep magnetic rings so I can put my magnetic freewell filters on there. So I don't have to like sit and like screw with the gimbal on. That's never gonna get old. See that? Always keep a good hold on your gimbal. So like this guy, like it sometimes like trips out, as you just saw there. Doesn't happen all the time, but just be mindful of that. Still keep a good grip on there. And like for gimbal modes, like I usually use the pan, tilt, follow, where it's like wherever you go, the camera goes. That's the mode I'm mostly using. But if I want to do like something, then if not, the second one I'm doing is probably pan, tilt, follow, where I keep the camera like, it's gonna stay straight. Then occasionally I'll do like a lock move, like rising up. All you gotta do is hold the button down over here. The follow focus is solid. It's not the best that I've ever used, but for what it is, it's nice. And what I've done is I have like a whole system where I have like a NATO to 15 mil thing over here. So then I put the motor up here, but I don't really use it that much. I just kind of wanted to give some tips and inspiration for a gimbal build, one that works for me, one that I use for work, and maybe you could pull some inspiration from here. It's finally like in a really nice spot, and with the gimbal, I keep everything in a Pelican. I'll show you guys some shots of that. All packed away nicely, so I know when I have a gimbal job, gimbal Pelican comes out, it keeps the gimbals, the side handles, the extra batteries, and this. That's really nice. I hope this video was helpful in some way. I know it's kind of a quick one today. What gimbal are you guys rocking? Let me know. All right, that's about it. Till next time. Oh, cheers.